Well, hello, my friends. Kathy Kowalik here, your host of the Enlightened by Dog Show. And today I have a very special bonus for you. We pulled together snippets of some amazing behind the scenes case studies from some of our brilliant partners. And so these are dog moms that have pretty much experienced a whole range of unwanted behaviors from their dog, from barking around the house out the windows, barking at the fence line at the neighbor's dog, reactive to other dogs on leash, reactive to just about anything that moves, fearful dogs, dogs that are afraid of strange people or moving cars or sounds, dogs that are deaf, dogs that pulled on the leash like crazy, dogs that would fling themselves down on the sidewalk and refuse to move because they were panicking. I mean, really, the whole 9 yards. I mean, things that no dog mom wants to have to face. So we pulled these snippets out because what is more important than hope? And I want you to have hope. And I want you to know that no matter what your situation is with your dog, there is hope. And even if your situation with your dog is already really good, I want you to know that there is so much more. And so these gals shared some of their parts of their stories and some tips and some of the things that they implemented into their life following the partnership principles that I teach. And their life has been transformed and their dog's behavior has been transformed without needing to do a lot of training and training sessions and setups, right? Because that's not what we do. And so simply by changing their mindset, following the partnership principles that I teach, they have turned their life around. And so I want to share some of these snippets with you so that you know this is possible for you. It's probable for you. And I want to give you hope and inspiration and to let you know that even if you and your dog are doing okay, but you're dependent upon training and compliance and treats and that kind of thing, there's so much more. You don't really need to be. And I want to share that with you. So listen to these gals share some of their stories during live interviews, and I hope you're inspired to not only want to live a partnership lifestyle with your dog, but that you'll join us, our amazing community of dog moms, in the Brilliant Partners Academy, where I can coach you and we can come together to help you have this for yourself. All right, well, let's cue up these interviews. They're really good. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast.
Murphy joined us on walks. He was fine. He really wasn't interested in people at all, but it didn't bother him to come with us. He was fine. So we thought, he's new, maybe in a couple of weeks he'll just get better. So we waited, and then about 6 weeks later, it was 4th of July weekend. We decided to take the dog swimming and go to the park afterwards. And we did that. We came home. All dogs slept for like 2-3 hours. Murphy woke up. He bolted off the couch. He started spinning. He started scratching our wood floor, running in the hallway, taking drywall off the wall, and barking nonstop. It was like he was a new dog. I'm like, where did our Murphy go? What's wrong with him? He was doing that for 2 days straight. It was weekend, so we couldn't take him to our vet Monday morning. We took him in right away. Our vet looked at him and she said, he's got OCD behavior. She didn't know why, what, how, but she said definitely needs to be medicated if it's that bad. And she also said he should see an evaluation specialist, behavioral specialist, to see what they recommend.
Mm.
So we scheduled that right away. She came actually the next day. He was on medication. He was on 2 different meds. And on the second day of the medication, he started getting, he was starting resource guarding, and he was starting to get really, we couldn't touch the crate anymore. We couldn't put him on a leash anymore. He would immediately grab either us, the leash, or his crate. We called the vet back. She said, take him off the one medicine, keep him on the other one. A couple hours later, the behavioral specialist came. She looked at him for 15 minutes. She said, return him. Dogs like that don't do well in a household, especially not with other dogs. So we were like devastated. Wow. We didn't know what to do. There we had a dog that obviously needed help, but we didn't know how to help him. The medicine made it worse. The trainer didn't want to bother with him. She told us flat out, I don't want him in my class. Not like that. And our vet totally shut down. She said, if you don't want to medicate him, if you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, we can help you. So right away, whenever we would call and ask something, they were like reserved with us because they knew that we didn't want to medicate him or, return him. So I could tell we had no help there.
And so in the meantime, while all this was going on, while you were, looking for ways to help him, talking with the behaviorist, talking with the vet,
yeah.
what was
Nobody was helping.
What was Murphy doing at home?
Murphy was getting worse. His resource guarding, we couldn't have any food in the house. We couldn't eat in front of him. We couldn't cook. The smell of food made him go crazy. He would just spin, bark, fly over, bolt over. He was going on our fireplace mantle, taking down everything. He was standing on our table, ripping things off the table. And the minute he smelled food, he was flying into the stove. There was no safety to keep him. We couldn't put him anywhere because he was not safe to be left alone. We still could not have them together. So between Christmas of 2017 and February of 2018, we had 3 major fights between Bear and Murphy, and to a point where I did not feel safe for them to be in the same room. So we kept them totally apart. Very difficult. We had gates up everywhere. We have open concept, living room, kitchen, wide open. We have one garage that everybody has to enter through. And we ended up having 3 different fence areas for the dogs because we could not have one with the other because we never knew what would happen. So that was that. And then in February of 2018, again, the picture that you see with Murphy on the couch on his birthday, that was his rehoming picture. I thought I wanted to share that with you guys. I really never shared that with anybody, but I did have him posted on Deaf Dogs Rock because I just felt that I couldn't keep him safe. And it wasn't that Bear was mean to him or anything. They were doing it to each other. They were so stressed out that it just wasn't working anymore. Wow. So we were thinking of rehoming him, but we really didn't want to because we knew nobody's going to take a deaf dog that is resource guarding and on 2 different medications and a mess. And so we just kind of threw it out there and said, let's just see what happens and if we find him a home. But in the meantime, we still had to deal with the challenges in our house. So one day I looked at Facebook. I was scrolling through and I saw your workshop. And when I saw Dancing Hearts, I thought, wow, this just sounds just like up my alley. So I signed up for the free workshop and I never looked back. We completed the workshop and we signed up for the first year right after, and it's been going great ever since then.
Wow. Well, that was a very clearly painted picture of the struggles and challenges and how your happy family life completely turned upside down. And I've got to say that you are very resilient, and obviously you're very devoted to your dog.
We made a commitment. Yes, we made a commitment to Murphy, but we also made a commitment to our other dogs.
Right.
We weren't gonna say, okay, Murphy is there now. You guys just have to live with it because it wasn't working. So
Yeah.
we committed to all our animals.
Yeah. Well, to be commended. So I'm sure everyone is dying to know. What, like, tell us what happened,
So
right?
what happened is we finished the workshop, and like I said, we started already before not walking them anymore because we knew that part was really bad. Now I grew up in Germany, and in Germany everybody walks their dogs. 3, 4, 5 times a day is nothing. I lived in the city. We had a little garden, but yet we walked our dogs. We took them on a bicycle. I grew up with German Shepherds. So, that's what we did. So for me, being home, not being able to walk my dogs was horrible.
Poor
So I
stuff,
said,
right?
so I said, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do everything Kathy tells me, and I'm going to fight through it, and I'm going to get to this, and my dogs are going to be fine. They're going to make it, and we're going to keep them, and we're going to do it.
Well,
And
and I have to say that
that's what we did.
well, you still are. You were so committed, and you were like so determined. You when I tell, you hear me say it, like, your success is inevitable if
Mhm.
you follow
Yep.
and if you believe.
Hmm.
Your success is inevitable, and you
Right.
really believed it, and you did it.
In general, I think it's so profound for us human beings, the partnership lifestyle. I mean, for me, I think I'm changing quite a lot. I have changed a lot during this last year. I feel I've come into myself in a deeper way. That's maybe an aside, although it shouldn't be an aside because we neglect ourselves so much in that equation, I think. Um, For Zoe, one of the things I mean, the walking without lead is certainly something I believe we will get to in certain situations. The other one I'd love is for her to for me to feel more confident that she's going to be comfortable with other dogs. That's something that I'm not in any way pushing for. She showed us quite early on that she doesn't like other dogs much. She has one friend who that works very well. Uh, it would be nice if I could feel more confident if we're walking around and meeting other dogs that she will be okay. But it's okay if she's not also. So it's not exactly that it's an aim. If it happened, it would show she was more comfortable in her skin.
Mhm.
I think it's that more than anything. It would make life a bit simpler if I am out and about with her, but I'm not always in that protective mode as far as other dogs are concerned. But I manage that normally very well, and I'm confident about it. So, which I wasn't before BPA at all.
Right. And so it's just sort of a way of life that she needs a little bit more space, and you don't even think about it. You just know how to respond. There's no drama to it. It's just a lifestyle. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I remember, and was it couple weeks ago, maybe, you had posted something with you and Zoe, like in an outdoor cafe, and
We went to a town. We went to a town 2 hours drive away, Narbonne, beautiful old town, and it was full of people and full of dogs, and she was absolutely amazing. I mean, for a country mountain hunting dog,
yeah,
she was amazing in town.
a couple years ago,
Right.
4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Clover,
Right. We brought right.
was the girl that you were looking for help with,
Yeah.
right? Tell us about Clover and what was going on.
So Clover, we got her as a puppy, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be this perfect puppy," and she was from like working dog lines and all this stuff. And from a tiny little puppy, she was resource guarding to number one. Then, of course, being like, "Oh, I'm going to be so good. I'm going to like do all those things. Like, oh, we got to get her social, out there doing all those things that might not always so good in the end." And she ended up becoming very resource oriented. The dog we had, she was very difficult with our dog Monty. Um, I mean, she would push him away. He was a very stable, like good. I mean, he was amazing. And so she was tough with him. She became reactive. She would I mean, we couldn't even walk past dogs in a yard and behind a fence. She would be lunging and barking um and then Monty died abruptly. That threw me into a mental turmoil, which of course didn't help her. And she actually got worse. My stress buckets were obviously beyond full. Her stress buckets were beyond full, just dealing with me. My whole household was a mess. And she became, more reactive um and then after that, I did start to go, okay, I gotta get this. I gotta, I gotta focus and I've gotta commit to her and I'm gonna again, start again. I need to get a foundation formula and get 'cause I gotta get this. I gotta get this, and we started in, I mean, and then not too long, and I guess a year and a half after that, we were getting a new puppy. So that also was a big motivation to, okay, we're bringing another dog into this. We have a dog who's not good with other dogs. We bring a puppy into it. We really got to get a grip on this. So, we, went back and I was like, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here for this puppy. We're going to make this a good life. Um, and we did all the things, we did we're just going to work in the backyard for a while. We're just not going to go out. We're not comfortable. And really the biggest thing was, I can say Clover is a sensitive, reactive, very smart, and wants to control things. And she's exactly like me. And I always think, because I have so much gratitude to Clover, because I feel the dogs that are so hard, like or whatever, like wherever they come from, they've chosen the hard thing. Like it's easy to be the easy dog. Like it's easy to be the dog that like, oh, they're so perfect and they do everything and they like calm and nice and they go everywhere and they have fun. But how hard is it for to be a hard dog, you know? And and that hard. She was there for me and she truly like I know that I was meant and we were meant to be together. Like there were signs that we were meant to be together. And she has taught me so much about myself. And the two of us have come, I mean, I can't even believe how far the both of us have come together.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're like a completely different person.
I am a completely different person.
And Clover is like, she's like the rock solid rock star, right?
She's unbelievable. And I mean, you know what? And I don't put her into situations that I know are going to be not good for either of us. But I actually will know there will be times I'll go out, I'll be like, my head's not in the right place for this. Like, she's not going to be good because I'm not good. So I'll be like, you know what? I will go back to the yard and play in the yard. It'll be fine. Not a problem. And and that's what we do, and then the other thing that I found with, we went through everything we got to the point of brilliant partners. And I'll never forget like walking with her. And then all of a sudden I was walking with her and we were brilliant partners. And we were walking, just the two of us walking together. And the feeling of it that I actually was like, I'm walking my dog and this is like relaxing. And I'm enjoying this. Like this is like I'll go out like I'll be like, you know what? Oh, there's so much going on. Let me take a walk with Clover. And the crazy thing is we might see something that like she's like, oh, there's a little nervous about that. And I'm like, all right, you got this. Like, we'll move over here. And literally, like, we have the dance, which is the dance. But when we're walking together like that, I feel like we are in a dance together because we just flow through the walk. We're just like, oh yeah, there's a dog over there. Well, like, we'll just kind of stay over on the side here. We'll go down into there. Oh, there's the dog walking by now, but we're good. And she'll look up at me and like poke me with her nose and smile, and it's an unbelievable thing.
If we're in training mode, it's amazing, like mind-blowingly amazing, right? And then there's real life when you really need it. So that happens so often, right? I mean, it doesn't always. Sometimes there's there's like not we don't don't get good results with training either. But so often there's a big percentage, don't you think, that have really done the work and put the time in and work with trainers, work with behaviorists, and their dogs are well trained, but that doesn't carry over in real
real
life.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. It just didn't carry over. And then our real low point was a walk we took one day. We were out I was out on my own, and we had been doing some of our recall. He was still on a long lead wherever we went, but I was trying to, to drop the lead and let him go a little bit, have a little bit of a responsibility and call him back, etc. And we were out in the field. We'd gone for a walk and we were coming back towards the car. And our routine was that I used to just drop the long lead for the last sort of 50 meters or so. And he would always rush straight to the car and wait for me at the car. So we did that, and I dropped the lead and off he went. And I knew where I was and where I'd parked the car was pretty safe. There were sheep fields on either side of us, but there was high stone walls on either side. So it was like an alley that he could run through and straight to the car. So I dropped the lead and off he went. And all of a sudden, he I don't know, he was about 50 meters ahead of me. And I suddenly saw him swing his head up to the one side, and he put his paws up on the wall, looked over, and I thought, oh, geez. And he saw that the sheep, but they were way off in another field. They weren't, right there. They were way, way off. And I just thought, well, he'll look over the wall, see that they're way too far, it's not worth his chase kind of thing. And, he'll just hop back down. Well, that wasn't the case. He took a huge leap. He flew over the wall, but he didn't realize that there was a 6-foot drop on the other side of the wall. And he crashed. He literally crashed down at the bottom. And I just thought, broken dog. I just screamed. I looked over the wall, saw him down there, and I thought, oh, he's broken every limb in his body. He's finished. He got up because it literally was a huge jump. I mean, he literally just took off straight, cleared the wall, and then, fell 6 foot on the other side. Got up and just headed straight for the sheep. And I just screamed and I whistled, and, it was, forget it. It was gone. And all I could think of was, my God, the farmer comes out now. He's going to shoot my dog. He is in full right. There's Charlie splitting the sheep, going wild. They're running everywhere, freaking them out, totally stressed out. And I just thought, that's it. I was frozen. I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to get him back or what to do. And I honestly thought, in my mind, there was going to be a farmer who was going to come out and shoot him. I was totally panicked, but they say you can do incredible things when you pump full of adrenaline. And that's exactly what I did. I jumped the wall. I dropped down on the 6-foot side. I picked him up and I climbed back over the wall with him. And I was like, this dog has got to go back. He has got to go back to the rescue center. I can't handle this.
It was just like the final straw.
It was that. And I was furious. I was angry. I was beside myself. I was panicked. Obviously, the fear that had set in, thinking of what could happen to him. We went straight back to the car, put him in the car, rushed back home, and I went straight for the file where his, with the details for the rescue center were, because I was going to phone them there and then and say, I'm bringing him back. And I was looking through the file and I found the page, and just below the number there, it was our sort of the contract that I'd signed. And it said, I, Sue Mim, promise to give Charlie a forever loving home. And the words just hit me smack in the face. And I just thought, oh, what am I doing? I had promised this dog that I would give him a forever home, a second chance. and that I would do everything to help him. And here I was saying, giving up on him and saying, you're a wreck. You've wrecked my life. I don't want you. I don't love you. Take this dog and go. And I just thought, ah, it, it broke me. It really, really broke me.
One thing I distinctly remember is when this was like a couple years ago when I first posted that morning walk video, and my 2 puppies ran off, and I was doing it live, and I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen here. I'm out on a walk, and it's open to the whole world, including a busy road, and I've got 2 puppies, and I'm going live to show what partnership looks like. I'm like, talk about living on the edge, right? And so I did that. The puppies took off chasing something, and I just kept walking and talking. And like 5 seconds later, they came running back, and da 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 da. And I never asked the dogs to check in. I remember you saying, "I want that. I want that."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so something about that was a turning point for you, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was that. It was like, I want that. That's what I want. And it was a laser coaching during the RRI that I had with you. And I was going on about, I think at that time I had that problem with Charlie rushing off to the water. He's also a water hunter. So he kept rushing down to the water. And I was using the Premack principle. So anybody who doesn't know that out there, that's basically what happens is, in the training world, your dog gets to have a reward that he wants if he does something for you first, or if he, what is the word I'm looking for? He follows through with a command, and you get him to do something.
It's compliant.
He's compliant. So it was a transaction, wasn't it? So basically I said to him, you walk at my side for 10 paces, and then you can go down to the river. Okay, so that was his reward. He wanted to go down to the river, and I said, you walk at my side in heel position for 10 strides. And my plan was to just increase it by stride, by stride, by stride. But what I found was the arousal level just increased and increased and increased. As we got down to the river already, he was already a shaking wreck, because he knew that he had to get to my side in order to get down. And then he would tear down there, and then he was uncontrollable. Couldn't call him back again, etc., etc. So it just was out of control. And I was telling you about this during the laser coaching call, and you said something to the effect of, why are you doing this, and what is what are you trying to get out of it? And I just said, well, I just want him to listen to me and stop going down to the water and pay more attention to me. And you kind of said, well, I think you missed the point here. He's not attentive to you in the first place. He doesn't want to be next to you in the first place. So trying to get him to coerce him to be at your side is not the aim of a walking partner's dance. Okay. Bingo. So yeah, it was that final straw when I realized I was still trying to fix him after I thought I hadn't been fixing him anymore. I was still trying to fix him.
There's so many cases where, following the Premack principle, whether someone understands that's what they're doing or not, like a technical term, it's so many cases. It doesn't work. And the bottom line is it's still transactional.
It
right.
is.
Yeah. So you had a shift after that. So what did you do about that? How did that insight change what you did with Charlie? What did you do?
I had to go back to the clarity chart. I actually had to go back and say, well, why am I walking down at the river if I can't get him to be attentive to me, and he wants to do his things? So it was a clarity chart thing again. Go back and find out, I shouldn't be walking down at the river in the first place. So we had to give the river walk that we usually do, had to give that a long break, and I had to go back and start learning the walking partnership dance again. Again, that was something that I had done. I'd seen the videos, but we'd done it in the foundation formula. But I'd also done a bit, not obedience as such, a bit of rally, that kind of thing. I knew how to get a dog to walk next to me by my side.
Right.
So it was like, well, why do I need to learn the walking partners dance? So I hadn't done it to, the way it should be done. And I had to go back and learn it again. So we started off at home. I literally had him by my side, just in default position, just walking around the house. And now to many people, and to me at the time as well, it was a very big mindset shift, because you can imagine if you're a trainer and you have your dog has got a trick dog certificate and it's good companion certificate and can do this XYZ and agility and now I'm saying I'm going back to getting my dog just to stand in default position next to my side and rewarding that. Like, hello. I didn't want to go back there, but I realized that I had to, because I did not have that connection right from the word go. So it was getting
And rewarding in a different context.
exactly learning to reward from my heart instead of out of my pocket.
From my perspective, from what you were saying and what you were expressing, I felt like you were feeling like there was something missing in your relationship with Flick, something deeper, like that she was like, it was good and you loved her and she loved you and all that. And it, just, fine in that way, but that it wasn't reciprocal, the love that you felt for her and the deep devotion you felt for her. It was almost like you felt that wasn't exactly reciprocal.
Right.
And that chicken incident showed you the truth.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little bit painful
Well, just
to
you
actually.
can skip the painful part or
Share.
whatever parts you know what I mean, whatever you're comfortable with.
I had a little flock of chickens that were in my backyard in a pen, and one day I came home and they'd all been killed and one had been taken, and I think it was a fox. And I was just completely and utterly shocked, and quite traumatized, because they were my pet. They were also pets, and also Flicker had quite a bit to do with them, in that she would herd them around the garden and various things. She'd sort of grown up with them. She showed more interest in a nice way than the other dogs. But anyway, this was during the afternoon. I went into the enclosure and I had the feeling that I needed to take Flicker in with me so that she knew what had happened. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I just felt that she had more of a connection to them than Casper and Sky did. And I just took her into the enclosure and she sniffed around and she sniffed their bodies, and I could tell that she was getting the whole story of what had happened. And then later on, as it became dark, I didn't have any room. I've only got a very small yard. I've buried quite a few animals in it. And I actually felt I had no bad feeling to the foxes. So I took the remaining bodies of the chickens, I took them over the park, and I took Flicker with me, because it seemed right. And I took the chickens to where I knew that the fox's lair was, and I gave the chicken, well, at least I left the chickens there, and Flicker was with me the whole time. And she was very present and very close to me. And afterwards, when we walked back, I mean, by that time it was really dark and it's open ground, and it can actually be quite scary because all sorts of people walk on there. It's a public open space, trees and grass and stuff. And at one point, because it was so dark, I couldn't see Flicker, and I didn't want to call out because I was somewhat apprehensive about anyone else who was around. So I
intentionally directed my thought. I called her in my mind, and she was right there. She came absolutely straight to me, just like an arrow. Sorry, I'm crying too. It was just such an experience of connection with her. I'm sorry. That, yeah. Oh dear. So yes, it was, and it didn't happen just once, because she sort of went off and she was around and I didn't see her. And then I got a little anxious and called her again in my mind, not verbally. And there she was again. And she was just with me. Usually she runs away the moment we get near the bottom of the hill. I'd forgotten to take my lead with us. And I don't know, I didn't even really think about it until we got in the house. She actually stayed with me the whole way up. There was no faffing around of going into the neighbour's garden or chasing the cats. It was out of a very traumatic episode for me regarding the poor chickens, came a very deep experience with Flickr, in which I glimpsed how deep a partnership possibly could go.
Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.